What is up, everybody? Welcome to the 5th episode of the Three Cone Podcast. I am your host, Riley Bymaster, here along with my... If you haven't watched the YouTube videos of our pod, I strongly recommend this one. You're in for quite a...
I'm dressing up every podcast.
If you haven't seen this. So I'm here with my fellow co-hosts, Matt Foreman and... I don't even know, Johnny Manziel, Scooby-Doo.
Reggie.
Brett. What's up, fellas?
Oh, Scoops. Ruh-roh.
So if you're listening via iTunes or another podcast form,
now Three Cone Podcast now on Stitcher.
Brand new to Stitcher.
What?
Someone, you know what, Matt, we'll have you describe what you're seeing from Brett's screen right now.
Yeah, I'll stand up so you get the full view.
Oh, I can see. It's a 24-year-old man wearing a Scooby-Doo costume where you can see his face in the neck. Whatever, same difference. Wearing a Johnny Manziel jersey, and at one point he was twerking, but
I just can't. That's got to be a kid's Scooby-Doo costume.
It's a boy's husky, actually.
It fits. What of it?
I mean, he's as tall as a 7th grader anyway, so it probably does fit that age group.
Keep making jokes. It's way cheaper to shop in the kids section at extra large.
I mean, it's basically a men's small. I'm going to agree with you.
I don't even think it's that big.
Yo, all I'm saying is kids' Jordans are way less expensive.
What size shoe do you wear?
That was a joke. I wear 8.5s.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah.
8.5s. Whoa.
Sometimes a 9.
You know what they say, little feet?
Little socks.
That's yeah, what do they say? What do they say? Say it to my face. Yeah.
You look like Doug from Up. Are you gonna put on the cone of shame?
Scooby Snacks?
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah,
oh
so
my gosh.
Scooby-Doo costume. This is my new thing. Riley's the host, and Matt does all the editing, so I felt out of place. So to fill that void in my chest, I'm now going to dress up in a Halloween costume every episode.
Oh,
Riley,
man.
Riley, do you have a Halloween costume this year?
I haven't dressed up for Halloween since I was in 5th grade.
What?
So, and I think when I was in 5th grade, I went as Tom Brady with a torn ACL because I think that was 2007.
You're a loser.
You're so topical.
I was. I went with what was in style.
I'm dressing up as Walter from The Big Lebowski this year for Halloween.
Is it better than Johnny Manziel Scooby-Doo?
Nothing's better than that, but I feel like Walter is probably a good one.
Oh, wait till next week. Y'all are gonna get it.
Are you gonna go out and actually spend money on a different costume every week?
Yo, you forget. My whole family's in education. We have got Halloween costumes on deck.
Yeah, but isn't your mom the teacher?
Yeah, but most costumes are like made for everybody.
Yeah, sure they are.
I don't even know what to say now, but
jokes. How do you not dressed up? I've dressed up for Halloween every year and kept it funny and topical. This is my one from the year Johnny Manziel wore it. You know, in 7th grade when you said you went as Tom Brady with a torn ACL?
5th grade. It was 5th grade. I was like 10 years old.
Oh, so I was in like 7th. I went as the swine flu.
Jesus.
With a flying pig hat that flapped his wings over my head. I ran at people all night long. It was glorious.
It is topical. That was topical.
It was great.
What did you dress up as?
You were in 5th grade in 2007?
Yeah, I would have been. That's right. Maybe 2008. I was in 5th grade.
Oh my god, that would make sense. I was a senior in high. I was either a senior in high school or a college freshman, and you were in.
I was born in '98, so I don't know what the math is. I guess I was.
You were you were in like 3rd or 4th grade.
In 2008, I was 10 years old. If I was in 3rd grade when I was 10 years old, no way.
Yeah, you were in 5th grade.
I wasn't. Yeah, I was in fifth grade.
Yeah.
So it was 2007/2008.
You were dressing up as Tom Brady, and I was slanging beers. That's what you were doing.
I mean, I was 10. I was 9 or 10.
You can't be slanging beers when you're 10?
Brett probably was.
I didn't drink till I was legal.
That's a lie.
I'm serious.
For all those who don't know, Brett is a aspiring teacher.
Oh my gosh. I just can't stop looking at it. I can't stop looking at the costume.
Can we start? Because it's getting really hot in here.
Yeah, sure. We'll start the pod. Welcome back. I mean, I'm sure most of them have stuck with us because it's literally been 5 minutes. But sure, we'll start talking some ball. So yeah, coming off of week 6, so we're almost pretty much a little over a third of the way through the season. Continuously losing players every single week. Brett seems very interested right now, or Scooby. I'm gonna call him Scooby for the rest of the episode. So this past week was a little bit of a heartbreaker. Aaron Rodgers, broken collarbone. It is said that he will need surgery, likely out for the year. Out 2 to 3 months. So that's pretty much out for the season. Thoughts on the Rodgers injury? Are you trying to buy low, or are you just holding? What are you doing with him?
Depends on the team I have.
Depends on the team. Yeah, and I guess we'll kind of get into that with our main topic tonight. But I mean, just kind of a tough break for anybody who had Rodgers.
Or any part of the Packers offense, to be honest with you.
That's true. I like Brett Hundley. I think he's an interesting talent. I think he brings more of a running aspect from the QB position for Green Bay. So I'll be interested to see what Mike McCarthy does, this week.
He's the greatest name ever.
Hundley?
Brett.
Thank you. We all didn't get it.
Because Brett Favre and Brett Hundley and me, all glorious.
Brett really brings the insight to this show. Brett or Scooby, do you have any quick thoughts on the Rodgers injury?
It really depends on the situation. I mean, Rodgers isn't too old where I wouldn't be buying low if somebody's panicking about him being old, or if they have like a real young backup. Like if somebody's got Rodgers and has happened to draft like Mariota or Wentz or somebody, I might take a shot at Rodgers for less, because now is probably the lowest you can get him, especially if that person is trying to make a playoff push. But I'm definitely way more worried about the rest of the offense. As Matt said, like Adams, Randall Cobb now kind of just plummets for me.
I don't know. I feel like Cobb could probably maybe see a boost. I mean, he runs a lot of the underneath stuff, and
I think Cobb,
safety valve.
Right. I think Cobb and Martellus Bennett both get a little bump. I think it hurts Jordy if it hurts anybody.
Yeah, and it helps the running backs too, and because they're
that's what I was going to say. Do you think Cobb's on the field if they go 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end, and then the running back?
No, but I don't think they're running. I mean, how much of the 12 or package are they running? I mean, I don't really know offhand. But
they're probably going to change it. Don't you think they would try to get him as much protection and run as much as possible?
Yeah, but do they really need to with his mobility?
I don't think they run a lot of 12 personnel. How often do you see Richard Rodgers and Bennett on the field at the same time and them throwing?
More often
or Lance Kendricks. Or Lance Kendricks for that.
Or Lance Kendricks, that's true. I forget about Lance.
More often now than it used to be. They have been going.
We haven't seen it yet, though, so we'll see this week again. Who do they play in this week? Do they play New Orleans?
No, they play – yes, they play New Orleans, yes.
New Orleans, so I don't know, kind of an iffy defense even though they went off last week.
Yeah, 3 defensive or special touchdowns. That was absurd.
We'll see if that keeps up. I doubt it, though. But I don't know. I think it's just going to be script and game plan. I think it's going to be a lot of short, quick stuff. And then probably –
Brett knows all about
that. Play jokes.
I was talking about sex.
Well, now you're just rude.
All right, so we'll get into
apologize. Kiss it.
Thanks, Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, so we'll get into whether or not we think you should buy or sell Rodgers. Kind of into our main topic tonight. But one other guy that we haven't gotten to talk about on the pod was Odell Beckham is out for the season with an ankle injury. I don't really know what else to say about the Giants right now. Brandon Marshall is out for a while.
For the season.
Running back. Or he is out for the season? Okay.
Yeah, they put him on IR.
I dropped him in the only spot I had him, so I wasn't really concerned.
Did you drop him in that league?
I did. I cut Marshall loose. 25-man rosters, 14 teams, and I cut him. No one's picked him up, so I guess that's the thing.
It might be changing, but go on. Carry on.
He was dropped in like almost all of my leagues. And same thing, nobody's really picked him up. Nobody wants to roster him.
Other than Evan Ingram right now, I think everybody's kind of staying away from the Giants offense. I mean, the running backs are awful, to say the least. Perkins, Gallman, Orleans Darkwa. Like we said before show, he's probably the most talented right now. I would definitely look for them to invest in some aspect.
Could they be in a position to draft Barkley next year? I mean, they're going to have a high draft pick.
Are they going to be drafting first overall?
Stop. But stop.
Yeah, they probably will be top 6, top 7.
So I mean, but they have to look at the line. I mean,
it's got to be.
Flowers has been better apparently the last couple of weeks, but I mean, he's still Eric Flowers. So
if he's improved, then he's improved from a D- to a D.
Yeah,
that's the improvement.
Their line wrapped up in one word: Pugh. Get it?
Oh my God. Yes, he's the right tackle.
Yeah, Justin Pugh.
Right
Justin Pugh
sucks. He doesn't suck, but their line sucks.
Okay, very insightful.
You know what, Riley? One of these days.
But yes, I'm also. Are you guys also looking to try and buy Beckham low too? If people are selling,
I don't think that people are selling Beckham low.
100%.
I've seen them go low.
What this really does? What I really want to target low right now? Give me all the Sterling Shepherds.
I like Shepard.
Still buy him low because but I feel like he's probably more of a player for a push this year.
1,000 yards as a rookie, like 8 touchdowns last year. Marshall's done for good. His tweet made it seem like he's retiring. If not, what do we really think he's going to be like when he comes back? If he comes back,
what tweets of his are you reading? He said he doesn't want to go out like this.
The one when it initially happened, made it sound like he was done.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to speculate right now because it literally just happened 2 weeks ago. But I agree. I like
because Riley can't get his homework done on time.
And my parents were in town. I apologize in advance. I apologize for us missing the last 2 weeks, but
let the record show I was ready.
You were ready. Okay.
Thanks, SpongeBob.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone over the age of 20 now has left the podcast.
They're out. It's been a fun 12 minutes. I don't even know how long it's been. But yeah, Brett, to your point, I do think Shepard's a nice target to buy. But we'll get into more of that here in a bit. One last little piece of news and notes. Adrian Peterson traded to the Cardinals and then proceeds to explode for, I believe, 124 yards, and he found the end zone. So twice. I'm not a believer. I think it was a fluke this week.
Sell now.
Yeah, if you can get anything for Peterson, take it.
I think he could have another decent game this week. I mean, as a Rams fan, we've been just giving up points left and right in the running game. So
start with a second. I would shoot for a second. I might be okay with giving up or getting a late or early first or third. I mean,
I was gonna say I'd be a little bit okay with
an early first. Yeah.
I don't think anybody's giving a first. I would take an early third for him.
That's what I'm saying.
If I have Peterson, I'm waiting until after this week to trade him.
I would do it now because I think my philosophy is I wouldn't risk it. If I could do something like AP in a fourth for a second, I would do that instantly.
I would do that now especially if it's an early projected early second. I mean, it's a little easier to project where people are 6 weeks into the season too, rather than at the beginning of the season. So,
right. Yeah. So I don't know. I've had a lot of people actually ask me if I've been interested in Peterson. I've just been like, not really, not a fan. Because I would be trying to sell him immediately.
I feel like you can treat Peterson the same way you treat Marshawn Lynch, but not as good. And
Yeah,
that's
he's a poor man's Marshawn Lynch, and that says a
Yeah.
lot.
I don't know. I might take him over Marshawn at this point.
See, I think I'd rather have Marshawn.
I think I'd rather have neither of them.
Hey, gun to your head, and you had to pick Lynch or Peterson right now, who would you take?
I'm taking Death.
All right, that defeats the purpose.
I'm probably gonna take Peterson.
Okay, I mean that's interesting. For me, I would probably go with the better offense, and I'm taking
Is Arizona's
Oakland.
offense bad?
No, but I think it's inconsistent.
Fair enough.
But it's hard to say right now because Derek Carr isn't right. I just think it's
I'd
hard
rather
to.
have Peterson. I think he's.
That's-
I think
I mean,
at this
that's
point,
fair.
I think he might be a better player. I mean, I guess you could make the case that Lynch has a better line to run behind. He has a better offense, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean we're splitting hairs because you're choosing between this turd or turd B. So
you're picking between a giant douche or a turd sandwich.
100% right. And
South
You
Park reference.
Second one tonight.
second one, keeping track. So that'll kind of wrap up our news and notes.
Actually, I want to interject.
You wanna talk about
some other news and note? Yeah.
bring it on.
So, I was just reading Roto World before we were getting on here, and now it's looking like Andrew Luck may miss the rest of the season after a setback in practice this week.
Ugh. It hurts as a Luck owner. It hurts, but I mean, I'd rather have him sit the season, get healthy, than play the last 5 weeks of a meaningless season for Indianapolis and get even further hurt. So.
Speaking of the Barkley sweepstakes, oh my gosh, Barkley in that offense, Barkley, Luck, and Hilton. That sounds pretty nice.
They need linemen. They need linemen so bad.
They need linemen too.
We'll trade back. The Luck being out for the whole year tells me two things as an owner. One, if you have QBs to offload, target the Luck owner in your league because probably they were gearing up for a good year and they were waiting, and now it put them in a panic. So maybe somebody like offloading Kirk Cousins or offloading.
No, I'm not offloading Kirk Cousins.
I'd offload Case Keenum.
Exactly.
Jacoby Brissett, even if you want to go that route.
I'm saying people you can get good value back for. I think Kirk could get you a late first. Mid.
Ben Roethlisberger would be another one I'd try and move.
Oh yeah, move Roethlisberger. And then the second thing is, if that Luck owner is panicking with all the injuries and all the setbacks, I'd target getting Luck on the cheap.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd inquire. If I'm going to the Luck owner, I'm asking about anybody, especially if he's desperate. Because he might overpay for Bortles or, it sucks to say, but maybe like an Eli Manning if you've got.
Yeah, that was the name that just popped in my head too. But I mean, I don't think Eli has any value with that receiving core.
Oh, zero. I mean, close to zero, but it's rough.
I mean, he's a QB. He's usable in Superflex and QB in 2 QB leagues, but outside of that, I have no confidence. Even as a bye week fill-in, I mean, he might not even be streamable at this point.
Would you rather have Joe Flacco or Eli Manning for the rest of the season?
Manning.
Ugh.
See, I'd rather have Flacco, and I know he's been playing poorly, but I mean,
poorly is given him too much credit.
I know that shows how much I don't want Manning right now.
Negative scoring game this year. It's hard to do as a quarterback.
Oh, I'd offload Matt Ryan to that owner too if I had him.
So Brett's trading any quarterback
with
I'm
value.
just thinking ones. There's I don't trust Matt Ryan anymore. I've said it since last year. I think he's a one and done year, like that production level. Like I know he's been top production level, but I don't think he'll ever be like what he was last year again.
I like Matt Ryan. I think he's a really good quarterback, surrounded by good weapons, and on a good team with an up and coming defense. That defense is starting to, creep its way into elite category if they keep adding weapons. Except for last week. But I like Matt Ryan. I think he's going to be solid for the next 6 to 7 years. But anyway, so covered that the Andrew Luck nugget. Hopefully, he kind of bounces back. Also, I got one real quick thing. Teddy Bridgewater practices today for the first time since absolutely exploding his knee, do we think he starts at all this year?
Yeah, 100%.
100%?
100%.
I think so too. I think by week 11, week 12, I think he's playing again.
After that, Keenum had one good game, and then he's been mediocre at best the rest
See,
of
Keenum hasn't been bad, though.
I'm not saying he's been bad. Not saying he's been bad. I'm saying he's been mediocre.
Right.
So the news I heard today was that Bradford's injury is way worse than they've been letting on. And I don't really trust him. Keenum is straight dumpster fire. And
I disagree.
I disagree with that, too.
I don't think he's dumpster fire. He's better than Eli Manning right now, fantasy-wise.
He's probably a top 5 to 8 backup in the league.
Here's what I'm saying. They're going to play Teddy because, one, they need to see what his value is because his contract runs out.
Yes, but at the same time, if they don't play him and he doesn't get hurt, I think is next year his 5th-year option?
I don't think they picked it up. They would have had to tail it by the beginning of the season.
How is it his 5th year? He came out in 14. So
14, 15, 16, 17. 4.
That's the math thing. I was thinking.
Wiley just switched to financing everybody. So
yeah.
Appreciate it.
No,
yeah. I meant this isn't his 5th year. I thought that's what you were saying.
No, I'm saying next.
They're deciding whether or not to pick up his option.
I think you had.
They would have already had to pick it up. Yeah.
I don't know when that deadline is, but
I think
they declined it, didn't they? Did they decline
I'll look it
option?
up. Keep talking. I'll look it up.
I'm pretty sure they declined. So, anyways, I think they declined it. They got to see what they have, and they don't have a better option. And they're a good enough team in that division, especially with Rodgers going down and Green Bay's secondary also all going down at once, that I think they're going to be in it at the end of the year and go for like their best possible ways to win.
So they did not add a 5th-year option on Bridgewater.
Yeah, so they can still tag him. I assume.
Why though? Why would you not?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, they have the option. I'm not up to date on my contracts for everybody, but
they wouldn't tag him unless they see something before the end of the year.
I just don't see them letting Teddy walk. I don't think that happens.
But they won't tag him. What I'm saying is they won't tag him without letting him play because they're not going to tag him at top 5 money for like literally the grossest injury I've ever seen for non-contact.
I don't know. That'll be an interesting situation to see play out, especially with what happens with Bradford, because Bradford's only on this is his last year, right? He's a free agent.
Yeah, he had a 2-year deal from Philly that carried over.
So, I mean, he's obviously going to get good money if he walks. I mean, he's going to get probably $20 million a year.
Yeah, he's still only 30 years old, which is crazy.
And we know he can play. Like, he's a good quarterback. He's just
but the problem is he can't stay healthy. It's right. Everywhere he's been, except he was pretty healthy in Philly.
Would you rather give 18 to 19 million a year for Bradford or 15 million a year for Mike Glennon?
Oh, Bradford.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to get the money.
I'll take Bradford in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
We're gonna ship off Mike Glennon to hang out in the Buffalo Zoo with all the other zebras. All the other giraffes, yeah, not bad.
Or Brock Osweiler. He's another one who got $14 million a year.
Yeah, he can go live with the giraffes too.
I don't know. So I mean, that'll be interesting because they've got Minnesota has 3 quarterbacks who can play, and I just don't know what they're going to do with. I don't know which one they're going to keep, which one they're going to let go, and which one they're going to trade. That's going to be the interesting part. So we'll see. But I guess with that, if you guys don't have anything else, we'll go ahead and talk about our main subject tonight. So finishing week 6, heading into week 7, at this point of the season, you pretty much know whether your dynasty team is going for it all or building for the future. So we're just going to kind of talk about, have a little roundtable discussion about when you know to go for it, when should you decide to blow it up, and then, how you should go about either process. So, I mean, we'll just kind of start the discussion. I didn't really have any specifics where to start, what to talk about. But when you guys think is a good starting point to know whether or not you're going for it or you're building for 2018 and beyond?
I think somewhere in probably the week 5 to 8 range. I mean, because there's a certain point where if you're sitting here now as a 3-3 team I mean, one of the things that you want to take a look at definitely is I know sounds kind of stupid, but just see where you're sitting at in terms of points. Like if you're scoring points and you're still 5-1 in the league, I mean, yeah, you're 5-1 in the league, but I mean, are you gonna be the sixth place team that gets in the playoffs and then just gets bounced in the first round? Like, I mean, regardless of your record, you need to assess your team as you assess your team, not just assess your record.
Hold on, Matt. I gotta interject real quick. Riley, what he's talking about for finance is when you take the points for column and then you subtract the points against column against it. You got that? Good?
Can you repeat that?
No. That's points differential. So if you're scoring points and playing the worst teams in the league, you need to assess your roster regardless of your record. You need to assess your roster. Just assess your roster. I mean, you could be 5-1, but you just lost Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham Jr., and Brandon Marshall. I mean, I'm not saying Brandon Marshall was a star or anything, but I mean, he was probably a wide receiver 3 or 4 for the year.
I think you'll know around like now, week 6, week 7, week 8, like you said. And I definitely think you need to look at like your points for and everything, but you also need to take a look at your league. If you're like 3-3 and you're sitting middle of the tier and you don't know whether to blow it up or go for the ship, but people above you are either all healthy, like might be time to take a step back. If people above you scored mad points out of the gate, but they just lost David Johnson, Odell, Rodgers, people like that, you might have a shot. Like, it's fantasy football when it comes down to it is a decent amount about skill and a lot about luck with injuries and stuff. And I think you have to take that into account and just look to see what the teams above you look like as well.
And below you, for that matter, too, as well. I mean, if there's that guy who thinks he's trying to make a push and you think his team is garbage, but he thinks he's going to make a push still, trade him that player he's overvaluing for a first-round pick. I mean,
Adrian Peterson.
If you can get Peterson for a first-round pick
I didn't mean
kudos to you.
I didn't mean a first. I just meant, if there's that team sitting below you that's 2-4, is in the bottom third in points scored, but he still thinks he can win, sell him Peterson for a second. That's what I'm saying. Sell him players that probably aren't going to win you a title, but they think will because they're confident in their team.
I also think you got to be smart about it too. You also got to see like what your draft capital looks like and what everybody else's draft capital looks like. Like Riley knows, I'm a big proponent of building my team through trades. I really enjoy making my team through trades, and I think it's a strategy that's worthwhile. But other people really like to draft really well or like to sit and wait. So it just comes down to basically your philosophy and your league's philosophy. You when it comes down to it, you know what your league likes to do and what they don't like to do, and like who likes to move what for what type of value. These are all things you have to consider when it's like this point in the season.
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to talk about was if you're in a league with divisions, I think it can tailor to your possible, fate this year, if you want to say that. So I'll just go ahead and talk about one of the leagues I'm in that Matt and I are in together, the DTC League. I am in a division that is not good at all. But
my team will be hot garbage.
My team is somewhat decent. I finished second last year. A lot of older guys, a lot of vets who produce now. So it's a doubleheader league. So I'm 9-3 through 6 weeks, and literally the rest of my division, I think 2 teams are punting, 1 team is about to, and the other team is just riddled with injuries. And then there's me. So in our league, the way it works is the winner of each division gets a first-round bye in the playoffs. Well, that gives me an extra 33% chance of making it to the title game, because then all I have to do is win 1 week, and I'm in. So if I'm seeing that, then I'm definitely going to try and add a piece or 2 just to strengthen my roster, because I know that I've got a good shot at playing in the title game if I can get lucky 1 week. So I think that's kind of something that you can deal with. And then, of course, on the other end of the spectrum, if you're first or second in your division by matchups, and you see that the 2 or 3 teams below you score more points, then it's probably not looking very good for you. but you never know, and it just tailors to to each their own, and it kind of depends on rosters, but yeah. So I guess strategy and philosophy wise, we kind of covered that pretty well. Unless you guys have any other thoughts about it.
Yeah, here's my thing. Like, I've never had a league. I've never had a team where I just decided halfway through just to punt. But in one of my leagues, I think I'm going to punt in this league because I've just been hit with injuries. I had Dalvin Cook. For some reason or other, I have 3 good wide receivers in that league, but through either injuries or they're just not playing well. Like, I have AJ Green in that league and Keenan Allen. And for some reason, I just can't get them to score points together at the same time. So I think I'm just going to punt that league and just see what happens. Like, someone offered me a trade the other day and was like, I don't know if you're trying to still make a push. And I was like, no, I'm not. Because, I feel like I have a good team, but they're just not performing well this year. I have Russell Wilson. I have Dalvin Cook. I think I have another decent running back in that league too. But it's just my team's not performing well this year. So, I'm not going to make it. I probably am going to look to make some roster moves to maybe try and get rid of that older talent to get younger talent. But, other than that, I'm not going to. I normally don't punt. I'm normally a guy who tries to go for the championship every year. I know that's an interesting strategy, but I'm paying money usually in these leagues to play, so I might as well just.
I agree with it, and that's why I build my teams through trade. Like, I do draft. Like, I will trade for good picks and everything, but I also trade away draft capital in the future for reimbursement and then reinvestment now. That's just how I run my squads. So it's like kind of the same way. I'm always trying to win. But sometimes you just need to know when it's a little too far gone.
Yeah.
So I think, Riley, you wanted to move on to players to target if we're going for the shit.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of do this, I guess, category by category. So if you are thinking about making that push, you think your team's in a decent spot to win and possibly win you some cash. We're just going to go around and just kind of throw out a couple guys, who you think you could buy and would help you win now. So Scooby, we'll start with you. If your team's sitting at 4-2, you're in second place. Your team's maybe lost a Julian Edelman or Brandon Marshall or somebody like that. Who are some guys that you're buying to take you all the way?
Well,
and that won't break the bank, because obviously if you can get a deal for a Hopkins or a Julio Jones, you're probably going to do it.
Well, I'm not going to focus on the break the bank ones because most likely it's not going to happen. But we in fantasy, wide receiver 3s are way overlooked and super important, especially in a championship run. You need that person to be, especially if you're playing in standard PPR scoring and everything, like most dynasties are. You need that person to be reeling in catches and getting some good yards no matter what, especially if they're on it. And also maybe on a bad team, because you don't want these people sitting during the later weeks. So I'm going to go with Pierre Garçon in San Francisco. I think you can get him for relatively cheap because he is older. He is in a system that's not that great. So it's not going to be like he's going to be there forever. They are going to start rebuilding soon. They just benched Brian Hoyer after the first quarter last week. But this man has been averaging a ton of targets a week. I think last week when Beathard came in, so this was my big thing, is I watched and I was like, if Beathard comes in, is he going to target him or not? CJ Beathard came into the game and targeted this man 12 times. That's 12 points potentially just off of catches alone, minus the yardage. That's insane. And I think that you can get him for relative. I would give up a second if I'm making the push for Pierre Garçon. I think it's definitely very good value, and you might get him for at least this year, probably next year too, with decent value before you start to see the age coming in, because he doesn't make his money on speed or the deep ball or anything like that. He makes his money on good route running and solid hands.
Yeah, I like the Garçon. I think that's a good one. I think it's a good option.
Yeah, and kind of my only concern with the Garçon was, if he was going to be targeted from Beathard, and obviously with the 12 targets thing when he came in, that pretty much dissolves that concern for you. So yeah, I like Garcon if you can get him for mid to late second. I definitely would do that. Matt, do you have any guys you want to talk about?
The first name that pops out is definitely Jerick McKinnon. I think that's a good one to target. I mean, yeah, he's probably a rental because he becomes a backup again next year, probably a change of pace back. But I think he could make you a league winner this year because I mean I think he's seen 21 and 22 touches the last 2 games since Cook has been out. So I think he's going to give you. I think he could give you high-end RB2, maybe even low-end RB1 value in PPR leagues. So I think he has the talent. I think that offense is better. The offensive line is definitely better. Who knows like we talked about earlier, what's going on with that quarterback situation. I mean, none of these guys are really big arm strength guys. So, I mean, they could be looking at McKinnon as a check down option. I think, and he's going to see probably 15 to 18 carries a game as well as 3 to 5 looks in the passing game. I mean, I'll take that from my RB2 or even my flex player and trade him for, just like Riley just said. I think you're probably going to have to get up maybe an early second for him, depending on the situation. But I think he's definitely someone who can help you make that push to win your league this year.
Yeah, and honestly, do you think a second would be enough to get it done? Like let's flip the situation. If you're a McKinnon owner and you're probably not going to win this year, but you're obviously not going to be the 101 next year, would you take a second for him?
It would be close. I think I would probably push for a second and another piece because
you just want a second.
You're going to be making that team better.
You want a second and some change.
I want early second value, basically. I think that's something I would give up for him as early second round value. I think that's fair.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know about McKinnon. I'm not sold. I mean, I know he's going to help you now. I don't know. For some reason, I think defenses can run just like a base 4-4 and just cut off the outsides and plug him.
How many teams run a base 4-4?
Just if they're trying to stop the run. If they're trying to stop the run and contain the edges. That's what I'm saying. And I don't know. I could just see.
I think with the evolution of the passing game, I don't think he's going to see. I mean, they play it. I mean, they're basically running 3 wide receivers a lot.
Well, if you're playing Case Keenum, whatever.
He's been playing Case Keenum the last 2 weeks, and he's still produced.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fine. Obviously not elite, but I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I'm not asking to be my RB1. I'm asking to be maybe my RB2 or even a flex player. I think if you're trading for him now, he's probably your flex.
Right. And see, I think I'm just going to go ahead and, just kind of transition to my guy, James White. So I think you could probably get James White for a little cheaper than you could McKinnon, and you could probably get similar production. I know White's not going to run the ball as much as McKinnon will. But I don't know. I think White's probably going to catch 3 to 4 passes a game and then run the ball, 5 or 6 times. So if he can get me, 60 yards and 3 catches and possibly a touchdown, I mean, that's a base of, at least 9.5 to 10 points. I would go to the White owner, see if, you could get him for 2/3. I'd give a late second if I could get White in like a 4th or 5th back. But I would definitely see if White's a guy that you could pick up for the run. Are you guys believers in James White at all? I mean,
yeah, I think you know my take on him.
Yeah, because
just not as much as other options I think I can get there. Like I was just looking over like some players and like some other dudes who I think you can get pretty on the cheap. Buck Allen. I think you can get Buck Allen on the pretty cheap because he's a fill-in, but he's making, especially in PPR leagues, he's sitting at running back 15. Like, why would you not push for that? He's getting the targets. He's getting some runnings. Duke Johnson might cost you more.
You love Duke. You love him.
I do like Duke. He's sitting at running back 12. Like
I've been a fan of Duke this year. I will say I might be wrong on Duke Johnson. I think his passing game, his use in the passing game, has been more than I thought it was this year.
Give it up.
And he keeps scoring touchdowns too.
Give it up. No,
See, the touchdowns have been surprising. Like, he barely scored his first 2 years in the league, and then now it's
You can't stop throwing touchdowns.
I know.
you take it this year. You have to. That's what we're talking about. We overlooked Larry Fitz. This is the obvious buy now for the ship option.
I feel like we've been saying that for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to throw one out there for you guys that I don't know. It's kind of what I've seen, especially after this last Monday night game. What do you feel about trying to go for maybe a little Eric Decker in your life?
I just bought Decker in a league. I gave up a 2019 second, partially because 2019 picks are just a long ways away.
You should offer him a 2019 third first.
I probably should have, but
Here's what I'm saying.
It was inside joke, Riley, and you didn't laugh.
I didn't.
He
I don't
has
even know if I
gone.
got it, to be honest.
He has gone since week 4. He's gone from 2 targets to 4 targets to 7 targets this past week, and he went from 13 yards to 34 yards to 88 yards.
Yeah, and I think he's learning the offense because he came in right before the season started.
And I mean, this might be a little like, I feel like I'm trying to foreshadow here, but if you pair one of the best red zone quarterbacks or red zone offenses in the league with one of the best red zone wide receivers over the last 3 years, I feel like it's going to start clicking. And his schedule is not hard coming up. He plays Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincy, Pitt.
Baltimore's good. Baltimore's
Got an improved secondary.
But Indy again, San Francisco. Like he's got some teams coming up that are not good at defending the pass.
Yeah, and I mean, I like Decker for a 1 to 2 year rental. I mean,
That's all we're
considering I just
talking
bought
about
him.
after the ship. All you need is 1 to 2 years.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So
And I think you can probably buy him for a mid second too. I mean, teams probably
You
aren't.
won't be able to get him for a third. Start with a
No,
third.
you're not getting. I'm not giving up a third for Decker. That's way too low.
Dude, some people might do it.
Well,
Hey,
some people
if-
are stupid.
if you're sitting at 0-6 and you have Decker sitting on your roster, and I offered you a third right now, and no one else has offered him, would you take a third?
No, I'm not taking a third. I'm not gonna give up value just because my team sucks. That doesn't make any sense.
I think I'd do it if I was 0-6 and I had Decker sitting on my roster.
But then you're
I'd
just
give it
making
a third.
another team better, which is making that pick even worse.
Do you have any other?
That's
Is there anybody else? Sorry, is there anybody else you're really targeting?
Yeah, I had a couple more. Adam Thielen's I think he's a
I was gonna bring him
more
up.
of Thielen's a good one because like no one really considers him to be elite, but he's starting to really, really grow on me. I'm starting to like Thielen.
I mean, is he approaching first round value? Late first value?
Probably. I mean, I would see if I could maybe throw a package deal, like a younger guy like a John Ross and a second. If that would get it done for Thielen, I would do that. I would do that 100% if I'm going for the ship. And I've just got a couple more. If you can get Jason Witten, if you need a tight end, if you were an Ebron believer, and
No.
Trust it.
Not interested in Ebron. Not at all.
I'm not. I'm screwed with Ebron. Anyway, so Witten would be a target. If you have a first, and it's not your first. Wait, no, sorry. No, it is your first. Sorry, that didn't make any sense. If you have a first and the Demaryius Thomas owner is sitting there, I would offer a first for DT.
I
That's
DT,
fair.
I would not give him up for a first.
For a late first? Yeah,
I love Demaryius. I think he's still an elite receiver. And I mean, we saw it just this past week when Emmanuel Sanders left the game with an injury. They fed DT the rest of the night.
I'm not giving him up like for a late first. He's 29, but he's also got some good years left in him.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah, he's basically Pierre Garçon. I think they're great comparable players.
I think
I don't know, but I don't know.
I think
DT's
he's
so much
faster and a
better.
better field stretcher. He's better downfield than Garçon.
I'll give you. I'm saying when Garçon was two years ago, I'm saying they're similar players. That's what I'm
you're
saying.
talking about like their value is going to stay consistent. through.
No, I'm saying what at their same ages they were similar.
Oh
players.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, I like DT. I gave my 18 first for him in a startup draft this past, I don't know, May or June. I gave a first for DT straight up, and I would still do that today. I'd even give a little more because I love Thomas and I think he's a good player, and I think he'll definitely help you win, especially if Sanders misses more time.
Yeah,
but I mean, I still consider him, in that same kind of category as Jordy Nelson, and maybe even higher than Nelson. But people value Nelson more than they do Thomas, it seems like sometimes. So I don't know. I think DT's a decent one to go after. Probably a little more expensive, but
what do you guys think about this? Was a trade that was offered, a person that was offered to me yesterday. What do you guys think about Marvin Jones for the next couple of weeks? I know Golden Tate's going to miss some time, and Galladay is coming off of injury. Is he someone that you would think about for if the price was right? I mean, you'd buy anyone if the price was right, but I mean, I don't see his price being more than another mid-second player.
Yep.
Oh, I like Jones. I forgot about him. I didn't write him down because I just wrote these down like 10 minutes ago.
I'm kind of stricken with his streakiness.
Yeah, I think and the owner that I sold him Marvin Jones a couple weeks ago, and he offered him back to me, but that's neither here nor there. But I think he's a player you might look at. I think he might be a better standard league player, but I think he's going to see increased targets with Golden Tate out.
Yeah, I mean for the right price, but I just don't know if I would. It has
See,
to.
I like Jones.
Price and my team has to be lacking something.
See, I like Jones as a player. Like, I really like his skill set.
He's a good NFL player, not great for fantasy.
I don't think he's a better fantasy player than an NFL player because he cannot play. He cannot beat press coverage.
I think he does. His team's role though.
He struggles against press, but his catch radius and high point ability is so good that you can just throw it up, and he's likely going to catch it. He's got a higher than 50-50 shot at it. So I like Marvin. I bought him a couple places. I bought him once before the season and once, I think, after week 1. Unfortunately, that was the deal where I gave Kareem Hunt, trying to get lucky that he was all hype. But that one still hurts. But I had Kareem Hunt in multiple spots.
And outside of games against the Vikings and the Ravens, his schedule is not bad at all. Steelers, Packers, Browns, Bears, Vikings, Ravens, Bucks, Bears, Bengals, and Packers.
I mean, I'm hearing a lot of Bears and a lot of Packers, and that's money.
Yep.
So, and I mean, it's not like they're going to become a run-heavy offense. Like, Stafford's going to throw the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah, that's good old Jim Bob. Jim Bob's going to throw that ball all around.
Best name in football. Jim Bob Cooter. Future head coach at University of Tennessee. Calling it right now. Is the Scooby costume coming off?
The jersey had to. I'm dying. Y'all want to see some chest hair?
All right, so real quick.
Just kidding. I shaved my chest.
We'll go through. All right. I don't even know what to do with those interjections. So real quick, not real quick, but we can go through them. If you're not going to win it this year and you want to build for the future, we're going to start off with players you're definitely selling if you're punting. We don't have to go in depth about this because it's kind of obvious. You're selling Larry Fitz if you're not going to win. You're selling Peterson, Eli Manning, any of the older guys.
I think basically everybody we talked about buying is people everybody's selling.
I mean, maybe not to some extent. Like, if I was losing, I'd keep James White because I know he's not going to produce elite numbers, but he's still going to be a solid player for me in the future. But I mean, like, I would sell. Obviously, I'd sell DeMarco Murray in a heartbeat. I'm trying to sell him even on a contending team right now, and it's not happening.
If I'm trying to get utmost value, I think that I would probably sell Gronk.
Gronk was on my list. I would sell Gronk instantly. I was trying to sell him last year.
I did sell him.
I was trying to get people to sell him. I don't own him anywhere.
A couple weeks ago, I thought about trying to sell Zach Ertz, but he just keeps producing, and I think I'm just going to hang on to him.
Yeah, I think that was to me, and that was before Ebron started really sucking.
Yeah, so
I probably
That's not going to happen.
no, that's not happening now. I mean, you can make the case that he's a top 3 dynasty tight end right now.
Probably. I mean, it's close after Kelsey. After Kelsey,
Gronk's still up there. Gronk is still up there.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. So Gronk, Kelsey, and then
That's what I'm
probably
saying.
Ertz or Ingram, right?
Yeah.
I still think he's behind Ingram.
I agree. I would put Ertz above Ingram, but I mean, Ingram's damn close.
I think he's definitely a top 5 to 7 dynasty tight end.
I think he's top 5 without a doubt. Like, would you rather have Ingram or Jordan Reed?
Probably
Ingram.
Ingram.
Right.
I mean,
So Ingram or Greg Olson?
I love Greg Olson.
Ingram.
I do too, but I mean,
Yep.
old, broke
Third
his
leg
foot.
Greg is getting old and broke his foot.
And I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that foot fracture because every player that's had it has gotten a second surgery on it.
Yeah, was that the same one that Dez had?
Yep.
A couple years ago?
Sammy.
Yeah, they had the Jones fracture, isn't it?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Dez had it. Sammy had it.
Oh,
Julio had
Sammy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
so
get-
I mean, I think Ingram's a shoe-in for
I'm
top
buying Sammy right now too. Someone I missed earlier. I'm buying Sammy. He's not staying with St. Louis.
I thought we were talking about that for like.
Los Angeles.
What?
Matt.
Yeah. Who's a Rams fan? That's just stupid.
You're a Rams fan.
Yeah, who's a Bills fan too? God.
Those Bills and Rams fans, man, they live tough lives.
I landed on 2 quarterbacks that I'd be selling. If I'm trying to get out and I have better options, I'm probably selling Cam. And I'm probably selling Phillip Rivers too.
I think your time to sell Rivers has passed.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't
can't get
see
much
it.
for him.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a Superflex league
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
insane quarterback values, you're not gonna get much.
Back to
I'd
the
sell
DTC
Cam.
league.
I'd be trying to sell Cam.
See, I think if I'm playing for the future, I think most quarterbacks I'm probably trying to move and just gain some value. I mean, obviously, I'd sell Big Ben, I'd sell Eli, Rivers, the entire 2004 draft class. Pretty much anybody that has pretty much anyone who's older than 33 and isn't a top 5 quarterback, I'm probably going to move them. So yeah, I mean, kind of with that.
You're selling Brady too.
Yeah, I'm selling Brady. If I'm
To a dude who's
if I'm not
contending.
if I'm not contending, I'm selling Brady
Would
instantly.
you buy Brady if you were a quarterback away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Like
But
if you
I'd
have
have
a
to
good
be-
team, if you have a
I sold
good
him for
team and you
second
just
this year.
lost Rodgers, are you buying Brady if the price is right?
If the
Yeah, I
price
sold
is
him
right,
for a
I'm buying
second.
Brady.
I took an early second for him this year.
Yeah, and I mean that all depends on league values and kind of the market values that have been set for quarterbacks.
One before we move on, you buying or selling Chris Hogan?
I'm probably buying if I'm making a run and selling if I'm not.
I don't know. He's so. I
I'm
don't see
selling
him
him.
having value. I don't see him having value after this season
Exactly why I'm selling right away.
because Edelman's coming back, so obviously he's going to play in the slot. Cooks will be all over the field, and then obviously Gronk and the running backs. So I don't think I'm buying Hogan. I inquired about him a couple places, but I mean, I know one guy wanted a late first, and I just couldn't. I couldn't make myself give a late first for Chris Hogan.
I mean, like I said, like every trade, it depends on your roster makeup and what you're doing for the season too.
Right.
So.
I mean, I understood why he wanted late first value because he was scoring touchdowns every week and catching 4 balls for 90 yards. So I understood it. I don't know. I'm not doing it. I just can't buy Hogan right now.
I'm selling him. I'm selling him. That's
yeah,
my views about.
I agree. I agree. I'm selling Hogan. So you guys just want to just spit off some players who, if you're punting, this season, some players that you may be trying buying that probably won't produce this year, but may produce in the future.
Marlon Mack.
Mack be a tough one to buy right now. I think his value is about to skyrocket.
Yeah, but I don't think his value has hit what it fully can, especially because I'm buying him now before he plays a game without Turpin because Turpin just hit the IR.
Yep. I
So-
was just gonna say that.
So if you bought him, so say you gave a late second for Mac right now, and then he explodes, and somebody says, "Hey, I'll give you a first."
Yep.
a
I'm
month
probably
from now.
trading him. I'm probably trading him.
Yeah.
I'm
But
buying
I think
Josh.
his value is definitely. I mean, the person who probably drafted Mac probably paid a mid to late second for him. So if they can get their value back for him, they're probably going to do that. And then if you can up the value in a month, I mean, I'm definitely going to do that. I mean, that's finance right there. I mean, you got.
Right. I mean, even I can do that. That's simple math.
Yeah.
I'm buying the hurt or
Oh yeah.
not producing wide receivers from the last 2 years of Treadwell, Doxson, and Aguilar.
Ooh, I like Treadwell. I really
think
like Treadwell
Aguilar. I
as a
think
buy.
Aguilar's price has gone way up.
I still think,
What a
yeah,
roller coaster. Oh man,
We'll
he
see.
started high and then dipped lower than I've seen anybody else, and now he's back up to what, a second round value.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah. He definitely second round value.
I'm
I
not
still
buying
think that's- I
Aguilar.
still think that's decent value though. I'd still might buy him at second round value.
If I could get him for a mid second, I'd probably buy it too. I think he could probably go as far as a late first right now.
Yeah,
See,
I do.
if I own Aguilar and somebody says, "Hey, I'll give you a second," I am pulling the trigger. I'm sending him away.
I think you buy Dawson and Treadwell though now because I think they're starting to trend up, especially these past 2 weeks with Dotson's touchdown and Treadwell's
He had one catch. He had one big catch, and everyone's blown their load for him.
he
Actually, he had
51
3 catches for 51 yards.
I don't care. He's still probably the fourth option in a run first team. I'm not buying.
I'm buying Treadwell.
I'm
If
buying.
you
Why?
could-
Why?
because
I think it's a good stash.
phenomenal receiver, very talented,
But
great
is
hands.
but is he gonna play over You think he's gonna overtake Thielen and Diggs, or Diggs? Yeah, I'll say or.
I don't think he has to completely overtake him, but I think the offense can work him in. I mean, like they
I
can
don't
run
foresee
packages, and
There's 3 fantasy viable receivers in the offense. I don't think they're going to throw the ball enough. That's not their game. That's not that. No
I think-
Mike Zimmer team is going to have 3 viable fantasy options.
I think it has to be now with Dalvin Cook out for the year. And if
No, it
McKinnon
doesn't-
starts
it
to
doesn't have-
slow
it doesn't
down,
have to- it doesn't have to be. I disagree with that 100%.
see, I don't know. I just like Treadwell's talent. I like him as a player. I think
But
he
you have to
can
look at
be.
the situation. Just because you're a good player doesn't mean the situation's right. Look at Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins on town is a top 12 wide receiver in this league.
He was the
He's
next
caught
round.
2 balls. He caught 2 balls the last 2 weeks.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
buy him.
I definitely see what you're saying. If I know I have nothing to lose, and obviously I'm not going to win this year, I
Well,
would
you
give.
don't have anything to. You're not gaining anything. That's what I'm saying. You're not gaining. What are you gaining, or what are you?
You could be.
What are you
That's what I'm
paying
saying. You
for?
could be
But I'm
though.
not buying for theoretical value.
Well, it's calculated value. I'm
I
especially.
don't. That's not
especially with
calculated.
Sammy. And with Sammy, I'm
Sammy's different. Sammy, I'm 100% agreeing with you on that one. Not with Treadwell.
I still think Treadwell's got it. What
But
about?
so Riley and Brett, what are you paying right now for Treadwell?
I think you can get him for a late second.
Yeah, I'd probably do a late second or something like 2/3 and a future something.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
know,
paying
like-
more than a third for him. I'm just not doing it.
What
Yes,
about,
do I think he's a good player, but I'm not waiting 2 to 3 years to see if he's on another team or if that offense changes.
See, and I
Well-
think that's the issue now. Like after 2014, everybody wants the receivers and players in general to just like explode within 1 or 2 years.
But I just don't think that I'm not going to wait 3 years for his situation to change. I'm just not going to do that.
I mean, and that's fair. Like to each their own. You know, like
I just don't
Different-
see like. Yes, could he be in another team? His contract, he's under contract for at least 4 years, and then he'll have a 5th-year option. So his 5th-year option is going to be cheap because that's how the 5th-year option works. I mean, we just learned about Aaron Donald. I mean, he's making, I think he's like the 17th highest paid defensive tackle in the league. But
ridiculous.
so yeah,
Yeah, I mean-
I'm just not buying Treadwell's situation.
Well,
I
I'm
think
just saying- I'm
the
just saying
talent's
you-
there. I'm just not buying the situation.
I think you can get him for cheap, especially from a "what have you done for me lately" type of owner.
But he just did something. That's the whole thing.
But I know, but like one outing, I see value, but some people probably won't. I don't know. Like, what about?
If I had Treadwell on a team and you offered me a late second for him, I'm doing it.
Good. Give me.
Yeah, I mean,
We're
we'll
all
take
taking
him.
together, Brett. So and I don't own Treadwell anywhere, so there's a problem there.
What about for like what have you done for me lately, owners, with like the likes of Zay Jones?
Oh, I hate Zay Jones. I think he's a mediocre receiver at best. I don't like him.
He's a
I'm
wide receiver 3 talent at best.
I'm
Yes.
pulling the trigger with a second, I think.
Wait, are you buying or selling?
I'm buying.
No chance.
No. I just don't think Jones is very good. So, I mean, I know if Treadwell was in Buffalo and Jones was in Minnesota, this would be perfect. Perfect. It'd be awesome. But obviously it's not. So,
You got any, Riley?
yeah, I had a couple. Jake Butt, if you're looking for a tight end, I definitely would go inquire about him.
George Kittle.
Yeah, his value has gone
Kittle's
up and
getting
up every week.
steep,
Yeah.
though. He's getting super.
I don't
steep.
care. I don't care. His value's still better
I mean,
now
if I
than
could
what it will
in
be.
the tight end premium league, if I can pick him up for maybe a early to mid second, I still think there's value there. So I'm with you on that.
Not even a tight end premium league, I'd still probably get a second.
Yeah, but I had Jake Butt, David Njoku. Maybe if you could, if you're willing to pay a little bit more, I think he's got a huge upside. I had Teddy Bridgewater written down because
Wait,
I still think
I think you get him for dirt.
who Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I
Or
would
he's on
because
your
I
wait-
mean
Or he's on your
Yeah.
wire.
I would definitely see about acquired Bridgewater if you're building for the future.
What would you get for Sammy? Because we had this combo. We interjected.
What would I give?
I
Yeah, well,
think
what's,
you might
what's my team situation?
if you're playing for
building
the future.
Oh, I'd give a mid 18 first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd pull a trigger, but that's what I'm saying. Look where his value has come from. Look for his value after that second season with the 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, where he was like, you couldn't get him for a couple firsts, and now the upside is there. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think.
Upside's definitely there, and I can't wait to see him someplace other than where he is now.
I think he's gonna resign there.
I think part of his struggles the last couple of weeks have been matchup based too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're playing some tough teams. They just played Seattle and Jacksonville. They probably played 2 of the 3 best passing defenses in the league. I mean, none of the
that's
receivers
true.
have really done anything. The best receiver all the last 2 weeks in the Rams has been Robert Woods, who caught 5 for 70 last week, but none of them are really doing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of situation, I'd give him mid first for Watkins just because of the player.
I think I'm going to start with a late first and see what I can bite. Actually, I think I might even go as low as an early second round value and see what they say. As long as they don't laugh at me. I mean, I don't think that's out of the stratosphere of what he's worth. I mean, it just depends on what the owner's looking for.
I'm buying ASJ as well.
Ooh, that's a steep price right now.
I don't think the price is that steep.
I don't either, which is why I think I would pull the trigger now.
It's
The
definitely
quarterback situation is definitely going to improve next year. I mean, it has
He's
to.
still very young.
you would think, but it's the Jets, so you never know.
They're going to draft Mark Sanchez again.
Oh, jeez. No, you know what's going to happen? They'll draft all defensive guys and just sign old dudes on offense. That's how the Jets roll. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. So you guys have any other last kind of final thoughts on blowing it up or going for the ship?
Make your choice now. Don't wait.
Yeah, pull the trigger.
Be decisive. I think being decisive.
You can't go on. You either have to do the whole. You can't half-ass this. This is
And you got to pull the trigger now. You can't wait another week.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than being a middle of the pack team.
Oh,
Just ask
It's
the Bills. 8-8
just ask the Bills or the Rams the last 5 years.
No, for real. 8-8
After last year, I'd take 8.
behind.
After last year, I'd take 8 and 8.
That's true. I understand that.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen the playoffs in my lifetime, so
I understand.
I saw 2 Super Bowls.
shut up. Yeah,
All right. Well, if you guys do not have any final thoughts, I think that's a decent spot to to kind of wrap up this episode. So yeah, just to kind of wrap up, buy players who are going to help you win if you're winning, sell them if you're not. So be sure to leave us a rate and review on iTunes. We would greatly appreciate it. Kind of help us reach a little bit of a bigger audience as opposed to the 6 listeners we have now. Which includes,
and another thing, if you're listening, just throw us out a retweet, throw us out a shout out.
Retweets are appreciated.
That would be great.
We love retweets. Hit us up on Twitter.
And don't just retweet. Quote the tweet and give us an honest opinion what you thought. Good, bad, and different.
Even if it's not positive.
I know y'all love this costume idea, so keep it rolling.
Yeah, and watch the YouTube clips so you can see Scooby-Doo wearing a Johnny Manziel jersey. It definitely will. It will brighten your day.
More to come.
And with a different costume every week, I don't see how that's a bad deal at all. So definitely, if you have any questions about your team, about trades, hit us up on Twitter. You can follow our podcast account on Twitter at the 3 Cone Pod. You can follow Matt at Fat Mormon, and you can follow Johnny Manziel Scooby-Doo at Dynasty Brett. Leave us a rate and review on iTunes. Hit us up on Twitter. And as always, keep on winning. And this has been a great episode. See you guys next week. Where
can we follow you at? I don't believe you told us where you can follow you at.
My bad. You can follow me. Yeah, I don't recommend it. But you can follow me at DTC_Riley B. And if that's it, then we will see you guys next week.
Toodles.
See ya.